Why did they have to cut out their laughter? I'll tell you why they had to cut out their laughter. They had to cut out their laughter because if they were seen actively laughing to that fucking video and to that very good joke, very well-timed joke, if they saw themselves laughing to that very well-timed joke, they would immediately lose their legitimacy because they're laughing at a hurt man's interpretation of the Catholic Church. YouTube. Looking nice today. So, not everyone, most people into stand-up comedy have heard of a very famous, very great, and sadly late comedian, George Carlin. George Carlin was a man who spoke often about politics in a relatively left-wing way and was always a comedian who punched up. George Carlin very consistently punched up against oppressive systems, whether it be homophobia, sexism, racism, or religious abuse. We'll be covering religious abuse specifically today, while also being relatively funny when it comes to most topics in the way he covered them. So, today, in particular, I will be talking about a nice little video that I got in my recommended, but first, I have to connect my Bluetooth headphones. These are not Raycons. These are Sony WF-1000 XM3s. They cost me a good 3 paychecks worth of money, but you know what? It was worth it because these are noise canceling. And you need noise canceling earbuds whenever you go to fucking high school. So, let me go ahead, get these connected in. Okay, we got these connected. And then let me go ahead, bring us over to the video. We're doing a comfy stream tonight. My face when they don't show the chat emotes, that is very lame that they don't do that. Okay. Wait, no, fuck, that's my OBS. Jesus. Okay. Are you single and Christian? Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen, and I am a makeup artist. Hello, Kristen. Okay. So, let me give you some backstory on this channel. I'm not punching down in any way. They have 106,000 subscribers. Must be fucking nice. Let me tell you a bit about this video. So, I found this video right before I started streaming. And it is two, I believe Friars are Catholic. Two Catholic friars, responding to George Carlin's, very famous segment on religion being bullshit. And when this video first popped up on my recommended, I went, oh shit, that's a little funny, little iffy, a little stinky, a little poopy, a little I'm gonna be quiet now, I'm gonna stop now. That is what I'm gonna do. And it was, honestly, a lot of the rhetoric that they immediately use at the beginning of the video that made me first try to get Zan to react to this on stream because I thought he was going to do a decent job at it. He didn't want to. Well, he never responded, which is fine by me because guess what? I get to do it now, motherfuckers, because I have my own stream up. I get to give my input. Also, he's not required to cover everything at all. So, with that being said, we're going to immediately get into this. I will be talking about religious abuse and religious trauma in this, so if you are sensitive to that, feel free to exit stream or exit video. I'm perfectly fine with that. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get this shit playing. Let me first, however, unmute my desktop audio, because otherwise you people will not be able to hear it. Okay. Let's get her done. Hey, Pillow, not to get you off topic, but is it just me? Yes, there have been more Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh ads. They are very annoying. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this.
So to get around a lot of this, I decided to worship the sun. But, as I said, I don't pray to the sun. You know who I pray to?
And yes, they are dressed
Joe
like
Pesci.
people from Star Wars. Our trendy Catholic friars. Please tell me if the audio's bad.
Wait, that's me, Father Casey. Nice to meet you.
I'm Father Patrick.
And this is Upon Friar Review.
Indeed.
We are back! Woo! Woo-hoo. Father Patrick, we have got a troubling episode today.
Oh, that's a bad combination because we're filming in the morning and I'm extra grumpy in the morning.
Oh, no. We're going to look at a grumpy man himself, a very hurt man. It's a clip that I've seen a few times. A lot of you have recommended it, and I think it's quintessential what we hope to do here on Upon Friar Review, where it's not all fun and games. What we want to do is engage its culture and what people say about us and say, where's the truth? Where isn't the truth? So we're going to...
So, immediately, if anyone could tell, there is a bit of a impropriety in their language here that you will see consistently throughout this video.
No, we're going to look at a grumpy man himself, a very hurt man.
And that is where it is. It is in the calling of, hold up, scratching. I'm not Nick Fuentes. Scratching. Yeah, and now I'm using my thumb. That was my index that I used for the nose. Now I'm using my thumb to do up here. And right there. I'm itchy. I'm an itchy boy. But yeah, the issue is the rhetoric of calling people hurt. And this is something that a lot of religious organizations will use to decry, Christians especially, will use to decry their detractors. They will call them hurt people. Which I will cover, which I'll get into a little later if you stick around. But to basically put in short why they do that, which I will expand on further, by calling the people who dissent against you hurt, you are basically pitting any critiques they have at you as coming from a place of malice, or coming from a place of anger, or coming from a place of being hurt. And by doing that, you're immediately invalidating what they have to say to you, and you're basically pitting yourself as someone who is at the end of someone's rage, someone's unwarranted rage against you, or slightly warranted rage, but far out of proportion rage. Pay attention to this as we go through the video. They will use this consistently. I will be speeding up the video because this is 35 minutes long, and I'm not trying to watch all of this shit. So, let's go ahead and get in this.
It's, we are back! Woo! Father Patrick, we have got a troubling episode today.
Oh, that's a bad combination because we're filming in the morning and I'm extra grumpy in the morning.
Tell me if it's too
We're gonna look at a
fast.
grumpy man himself, a very hurt man. It's a clip that I've seen a few times. A lot of you have recommended it, and I think it's quintessential what we hope to do here on Upon Friar Review, where it's not all fun and games. What we want to do is engage its culture and what people say about us and say, where's the truth? Where isn't the truth? So what we're going to watch today is a stand-up routine from George Carlin.
Ooh.
George Carlin, notorious atheist, may he rest in peace, a man who used to be Catholic, a lot of animosity, a lot of anger towards the church, and so he has this...
A lot of animosity, a lot of anger towards the church. Doing it again. The whole... Anyone who speaks out against us, especially if they used to be a part of our organization, are only doing it because they hate us, not because they have legitimate critique.
This stand-up routine, I don't want to call it comedy act, but...
Stay mad. Jeez. Oh my...
But he kind of makes fun of the church.
He's a wicked cusser.
Yeah, so we're going to try to cut out all
A
the
wicked
cussing.
cusser. Wait. A wicked cusser. Yes, he cusses a lot. And in the name of George Carlin's cussing, I got a nice little bit for you that George Carlin did. Rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat. 69 assholes tied in a knot. Hooray, lizard shit, fuck. I'm not going to make it any easy for people who do not like cussing because this is a pillow stream and we're covering George Carlin. And hey. I mean, hey, part of, if these people in these videos see this, I mean, I guess part of religion is sometimes having to deal with sinners and wicked cusses, as the man in the video said, so hopefully you can get through this, response good if you do watch this. So, let's go.
But just so you know, it's going to be a little hard to watch at times, so viewer discretion is advised, but we're going to do our best to try to bring
Viewer
light to it.
discretion,
I think it's
someone
important for
speaking
us
his
to
mind.
listen all across the board
Yeah.
and see where there's pieces of truth. But this man is obviously very, very hurt, particularly by the church or its ideas, and so we want to take on that too.
Very,
There we go.
very hurt.
Religion has
Again.
actually convinced people that there's an invisible...
Wait. Let me slow this down, because George Carlin's comedy did have a lot to do with his timing. His timing was very key to his comedy. I don't want to fuck that up.
And religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish, where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you.
All right.
So we've started out mild.
Also,
summary-
something that I
Loves
noticed
you.
earlier when I rewatched this video. Watch this.
You to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you.
That jump cut. Pillow, didn't a sermon once say, "Thou shalt not sieve or mold"? True. Very true. Good Catholics should know to appreciate pain and hardship. True. But yeah, look at that sneaky ass fucking jump cut. They tried to act like they didn't fucking laugh at it. Look at this. Like a smug little chuckle. They tried to act like, look at that fucking
You
jump
to
cut.
live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you.
All right.
You can't hide from me. I have studied every single form of edit jutsu as a fucking zoomer on the internet. I know all of your fucking tricks, and being honest, that was a very boomer fucking jump cut. Like if you're gonna make your jump cuts, at least make them like throughout your video to make it not fucking jarring. Like, do a Philip DeFranco. I like Philip DeFranco, but do like a Philip DeFranco. Why did they have to cut out their laughter? I'll tell you why they had to cut out their laughter. They had to cut out their laughter because if they were seen actively laughing to that fucking video and to that very good joke, very well-timed joke, if they saw themselves laughing to that very well-timed joke, they would immediately lose their legitimacy because they're laughing at a hurt man's interpretation of the Catholic Church or a hurt man's interpretation of Christianity. The fact that they cut that out is tantamount to that fact. They want to dictate what other people do, and they want to dictate what other people can say and call them hurt whenever they don't necessarily agree with their religion. But whenever something like an impropriety in their religion or like an inconsistency in their religion, such as God being all loving but also sending people to hell, whenever someone points that out in a comedic fashion, they can't let that be seen by their 106,000 subscribers, because that would invalidate the shit that they're trying to do. That's exactly why they had to cut out their laughter right there. Yeah, the guy on the right smile says it all. Absolutely. We can see we know Vosh is bad and how jump cuts are cringe when used wrong. Absolutely.
So we've started out mild.
Vosh
So
bad.
summary of faith here.
Yeah, gosh, the judgment. I find it very hard to believe that someone so rational and intellectual as he is, he thinks constantly thinking through things, picks up on all these minutiae and details, wouldn't get the idea that there is in fact good and evil, and that evil is a punishment in itself, and that you could frankly go that way all the time, and that there's a call by a good loving God to do good. Stick with that. I find it hard to believe.
Again, this particular critique of George Carlin is pretty much insulting his intelligence. They're saying, yes, you're a very intelligent man, but you made this very one important oversight in concern to religion. You think through a lot of things, you very clearly think through a lot of things, but you forgot this one little thing, Sweaty. This is something that, people who engage in, say, religious abuse or maybe even a bit of gaslighting may do. They'll say, hey, you're really smart. You're a really smart person. But you forgot this one little thing. This one little thing you forgot. And you're a smart person. But you forgot this one little thing. They'll do this. They will do this. What you will see throughout this video is that these people will constantly engage in these little pot shots at George Carlin and act like he's a horrible person for not agreeing with their interpretation of religion. That is one thing that they will consistently do throughout this video, and they'll do that through using very abusive tactics and very snide little shots at George Carlin and his intelligence and his personality and his relationship with the Catholic Church to insult him. They will do this consistently throughout the video, so just keep it watching. I've seen less condescending with fish cultists in Metro Exodus than these guys. Yeah, absolutely. These people are really fucking condescending.
Believe that he doesn't make that jump.
Or that there are consequences for actions.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we know there are consequences for our own actions in this world, but why wouldn't there be consequences for a divine action? Right? So let's assume God exists. So he's assuming it doesn't, but how could we believe in a God where there are no consequences? Of course, there will be people who turn away, and what's God going to do? I'm sorry you've turned away. I think the problem here, though, is...
Another interesting thing here is the framing that turning away from God is in of itself the horrible act, that God is just a passive observer in all of this, and by turning away from God, you're actively going against his all-loving boon, and he loves all, except for people who get abortions, or people who aren't religious, as stated previously, or people that are gay by, no fault of their own, etc., etc., etc. The fact of the matter is, this notion that there is, and this is going to go into like some edgy, like hat tipping, fedora tipping, atheist shit, but the notion that there can be an all-loving God that would allow anyone to walk away from their flock and face as horrible as hell might potentially be, and the fire and screaming and the death and the pain and the yada yada yada, the idea that would be an all-loving God that would let its creation walk into that is contradictory. An all-loving character would never let anyone do that. I wouldn't let my worst enemy walk into a place like what hell is described as in popular culture. I wouldn't let my worst enemy fucking do that, because no one fucking deserves that. So why the fuck would an all-loving God let someone do that? The second is, Old Testament over New Testament God. People who take a book literally to justify their hatred, they sound smug as fuck. They do. The second to this is love thy neighbor as yourself. No other commandment is greater than these. Mark 12:31. Yep. Which is another thing. Which is why if you look at my stream title, it is, quote, Christian love. A lot of these people, like these friars right here, will act like they're coming from a place of love, when in all actuality they're coming from a place of judgment and hatred of people who do not support their organizations. Let's continue.
It's focusing very, very minutely on the judgment of God, forgetting the whole story of Exodus and his love for the people of Israel, his covenants with the people in Genesis, looking at the countless times, hundreds of times where he showed patience and mercy to the people, and they kept screwing up. Clearly, this isn't the way God acts. He doesn't just condemn people to hell.
Yes, it is your fault as a human being that you constantly screw up, and the all-loving God, he just watches in pain as you screw up. He doesn't interfere at all. He maybe sends Jesus down, but if you don't believe Jesus and his crackheadish claims of being the Son of God, I'm sorry, you just have to have faith. Sorry, sweaty. Let's continue.
He shows patience.
Yeah, and the fact that he's making fun of God being invisible is a little disturbing, only because I want him to know that he couldn't possibly perceive the majesty of God as a human being with human eyes.
You're too dumb to perceive the majesty of God as a human being
that
with
God
human eyes.
That God is in some level unknowable, and of course he's invisible, but makes himself visible in Jesus.
Yeah, would you want a God that can be contained?
Oh,
yes, he makes himself visible in a man that has allegedly been dead for 2,000 years. Indeed, that's very visible. Very visible. with the only written documentation of this man being the book that says that he's the Son of God. Indeed. Beautiful. Beautiful. Very beautiful.
Gosh,
think
no,
so.
no. That he's invisible just makes more sense. And I'm surprised again that George didn't see that. He's been very hurt.
Yeah.
You can tell he's coming out of a lot of hurt.
He's been very hurt. You can tell he's coming out of a lot of hurt. What the fuck did I say? These people, like these two friars here, will act like they're coming from a place of love. Like, oh my god, I sympathize with you for being hurt. When in all actuality, they're coming from a place of condescension and moral superiority. This is all this is.
Loves you, and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all powerful, all perfect, all knowing, and all wise. Somehow, just
God
can't
showed a
handle
lot of
money.
love to the Christians and the pagan kings
Religion
massacred.
takes in
True.
billions of dollars. They pay no taxes, and they always need a little more. Now, you talk about a good bull story. Holy.
All right, so it's about the money. Here's the real issue here.
I got a lot to say about this.
So he's not so much angry with God, it seems. He's angry at religion. What we got here?
Well, I'm thinking he's missing a huge section of it, that money built hospitals, that money built schools.
He isn't necessarily angry at God. He's more so critiquing religion. Critiques. I think there are some unironic, good-loving Christians who are open-minded to other ideas, but never get enough attention as the cultists less higher-ups. I agree too. I legitimately think that there are legitimately good Christians out there. The only issue is like the cultists are really fucking prevalent, especially where I live. I live in the South, and what you'll see a lot in the South are evangelist Christians, and they are some of the most culty motherfuckers on planet Earth. And they will constantly engage in the same rhetoric that these two friars are doing right now. They will constantly engage in that rhetoric. There is no hate quite like Christian love. Also, they're going to say, oh yes, well, this money has been used to build hospitals and schools and this and that, which is good and lovely. But the same money that goes to religious institutions also goes to, say, human rights abuses. Let's talk about the fucking Crusades. What about the fucking Crusades? It goes to, say, schools in Canada that were used to force indigenous children to be shirked from their culture, to be taken from their families and forced into something that they should have never been forced into, to be subject to a genocide. This same money has been used to justify discrimination against gay people. The same money has been used against countless groups of people seeking independence from Catholic nations, or Christian nations in general. The same money goes into the pockets of people like Kenneth Copeland, who use it to buy yachts, who use it to cover up, which I'm not saying Kenneth Copeland has used this money to cover up child sexual abuse, because I'm not trying to get fucking sued. I'm more so referring to Christianity in general, the Catholic Church in particular. But the same money has been used to cover up abuses of children. The notion that just because this money has gone to build some hospitals does not mean that this money is inherently good, because there is a lot of blood on the hands of the money given to religious organizations.
Schools. That money's been in crisis relief where the government was not able to take care of it. That money went to ships that sailed the ocean blue to
see what it's like.
crisis centers.
The South can
as
be nice,
hospital
but
ships.
do not live
How
down
many
here. It's
people have
fucking
gone from
hell.
poverty to middle class and even become rich because they were well educated? How many families are being raised in morality?
Whoa. It's what was that quote? It's harder for a rich man to jump through the eye. Well, no, fuck. It is easier for a camel to jump through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. If someone can find that quote, please post it in chat so I can read out. I'm pretty sure that was a line and verse, please. Remember when the church was used as a political pawn of the monarchs and emperors? Yeah. How about we talk about the various Catholic popes that also engaged in abuses of other people, or used their position as pope as essentially king of Europe at the time, really, because the Catholic Church was so prevalent. Although that is a simplification of what the Pope did at that time. Classical fans, do not fucking kill me, please. The classics are cool. Do not kill me. That is an oversimplification, but it still stands. Yeah, what about the various popes that had a lot of affairs, you know, kind of going against what good religious people are supposed to do. The leader of the Catholic Church did that. What about those people? Just asking. It's a little bit of hypocrisy on that end. Just asking.
Because they came to a church where God's word was preached. Well, that church costed money to build. I'm freaked out by the power bill for air conditioning a small church like the one I serve now. It's amazing. Yes, we need money. Of course we need money. Everything costs money.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. Now, if there was a crossing of the line
It's
into
easier for
profiteering,
Hamill to go through
lining my
God Needle
pockets.
than
yeah,
for
if we were
Richmond to
saving
enter
and
the
sitting on
kingdom
big
of
dumps
heaven.
of money
Yeah.
while we were asking for money for the poor, there's some incongruity there, ingenuineness there.
And we are not innocent of that.
Yeah, I think it does happen sometimes.
There is absolutely
Yeah,
part of that.
again,
But
I
think if
tell
look
you,
at the-
it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who's rich to enter the kingdom of God. Yeah.
the larger scope, what you see is that caring for the world costs money, and our finances aren't liquid, right? So they say the church has billions and billions of dollars.
Okay.
We got a church. It's a 100-year-old church that's decaying, and we're maintaining it. We are certainly paying lots of money. We may not be. People don't.
Okay.
So interesting.
Way
Money.
that,
Jesus.
that merits all that money going to them. not us
Okay,
taking some of
Jesus,
it in
I get it.
taxes.
You want to defend your bag. Oh, wait, no, I can't say Jesus. That is taking the Lord's name in vain. That's against one of the commandments. Oh, Maurice. Okay, let's move on to the next Carlin clip.
Which is why the government has frequently given money to the Catholic Church, because it knows what it does and can prove what it does, and we document what we do.
No government organization should be giving money to a religious organization. Unless it's like, I would be fine with it if it's a situation where, like, say it's like a synagogue, and the synagogue is, like, attacked by a bunch of white nationalists, and the government wants to give money to that synagogue to help rebuild. I'm perfectly fine with that. But if it's legitimately subsidizing churches, I'm not fine with that. Or, like, any other religious institution, for that matter. But if it's, like, legitimately, like, very clearly an act of malice against a religious organization that I am, then I would be slightly fine with a government potentially giving money to that religious organization. But even then, I'm a little iffy on that. Okay, let's continue.
I want you to know something. This is sincere. I want you to know, when it comes to believing in God, I really tried. I really, really tried. I tried to believe that there is a God who created each of us in his own image and likeness, loves us very much, and keeps a close eye on things. I really tried to believe that, but I got to tell you, the longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is up. Something is wrong here. War, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, torture, crime, corruption, and the ice capades. Something is definitely wrong. This is not good work. If this is the best God can do, I am not impressed. Results like these do not belong on the resume of a supreme being. This is the kind of you'd expect from an office temp with a bad attitude.
Office temp with a bad attitude.
Well, you've got good and evil, you've got good and
Oh, wait.
Office temp with a bad.
What was
This is the
that?
kind
What
you'd
was that?
expect from an office temp with a bad attitude.
Office temp with a bad attitude.
Jump cuts. Gotta love the jump cuts. Beautiful jump cuts.
well, you've got good and evil, you've got good and evil. I mean,
You got free will.
you have to have good and evil to be free and conscious. You have to have it.
You have to have the.
Well, then I have to ask, I don't know a lot about Catholicism, but if Catholicism buys into the God's plan thing, or the everything's all in God's plan thing, or the God is all-knowing and he knows what everything is gonna, everything that's gonna happen, if the Catholic Church buys into that, then I have a question for you. To anyone watching this video, or maybe even to the two beautiful friars that watch this video, which I will say, you two people are very beautiful. You two, legitimately attractive people. I will say that. This is an honest compliment. I am being sincere here. But I have a question. If you do buy into that, then how can you claim that humans have free will? Because if there is an all-knowing, all-seeing God, how can you give humanity free will if you already know what's going to happen? Because if you know what's going to happen, can you really claim that people have free will if you know it? Because you can say, oh, well, people have the free will to make that decision in the moment, but not really. Because if you can predict the future, then that means that, and you can predict people's actions in the future, that means that people are predestined to do that. Pretty much. They're predestined to make that particular choice. So if they're predestined to make guy on the right is looking better than the guy on the left, yeah, the guy on the right is a bit of a silver fox. But if people are predestined to make that choice, even if it is of their own free will in the moment, is it really of their free will? That is the question. Continuing.
It's the opportunity
Jesus,
for it, but
chair.
I think the mistake he's making
I mean,
here is
Maurice,
he's giving all
this
the credit
chair.
to God, right? Do we not have agency?
Oh man.
Right? Like, I don't understand this disconnect here. They say that, well, there's famine and crime and the ice capades. You know, well, we do have an opportunity to do
Ice-capades
this.
are
And so
pretty
what you're
bad.
saying is you'd rather God come in and take all that away. Anytime we're about to press the button, he goes like this and slaps our hand. Is that what you want? I don't think that's what you want, because then you'd be crying, this terrible God, he doesn't give us free will.
And the people cry, what about natural disasters? Well, again, free will, you don't have to live on the fault line.
Yeah.
You can move away from San Francisco. You don't have to live in a desert.
Just move! Move! God isn't gonna prevent natural disasters because it's on you for living in the fucking desert. That is on you, buddy. That is on you, buddy. You better move. Just fucking move. That is exactly what you should absolutely do. Oh my fucking god. Like... Just fucking move. That is what you should do. Just move. Oh my god. Friars are obsolete. Accelerate to Maurice. True. Hey. Make Maurice a community meme, please. I don't know, like draw him as like some guy with like a dunce cap. Make him like Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Let's just make him. with like a cup of mandarin oranges in his hand. That is what Maurice is. Like, oh my god, legitimately a just move argument. Okay, why are there natural disasters? Well, you know, they're always gonna exist, but you have the free choice to live there. Thank you, Friar, very cool. Very, very fucking cool. Jesus.
Desert.
Yeah.
You can move to a place where there is water.
Free will doesn't necessarily mean that you have the actual...
You can move to a place where there is water. Dude, some little child in somewhere with like shitty water is just like, Mama, Papa, I think I have cholera. Oh, that's unfortunate. And then these two fuckholes coming, and then they're just like the parents ask them, they're like, our child has cholera. Our child is gonna die from cholera. Please tell me why this happens. You should have moved, dumb fuck. You chose to live here with bad water, but we're impoverished. Should have made better choices. Should have moved. Absolutely should have moved. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, Maurice, fucking Frosted Flakes, Bobbert, don't support Kellogg's. Okay, let's keep going.
Option. I mean, a lot of poor people live in places, but I think that's not necessarily your free will. It's the rich's free will that forces the poor into bad areas. The places with the...
Okay, Val's actually kind of based. Hold up. I mean, I guess they could occasionally be based.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you have the actual option. I mean, a lot of poor people live in places, but I think that's not necessarily your free will. It's the rich's free will that forces the poor into bad areas. The places with the most natural disasters and the most...
Wait, if it's the rich's free will to affect other people's free will, then people don't have fucking free will. Then it's only effectively the rich that have free will. The ability to control someone else's free will means that that person doesn't have free fucking will. Jesus. If God guarantees people free will, then he would stop that shit from happening, you fucking dumb fuck.
Environmental pollution are the places we push the...
Okay, calling them a dumb fuck was a little too far, I'm sorry about that. You kind person who has logically thought out a lot of things, but is very clearly hurt by people who don't believe in your religion, and thus resorts to very illogical thought processes. I can do it too.
poor because it's the cheapest. So we don't want to blame the poor people in San Francisco or in Africa for the disasters that happen to them. But it is collectively our human free will that causes misery.
He doesn't like the fact that there's evil.
Yeah.
You have to
Neither
stop
do I.
and think through the fact that you do not have freedom without good and evil. If all you had was lukewarm water,
Well, you could still have goodness.
would you know water, though? You'd have to have dry ice on one side and steam on the other to know water.
Yes, because
The steam
everyone has
burning and dry
interacted
ice
with
burning.
dry ice.
So now I know lukewarm water
Jesus.
because I know dry ice and steam.
Yeah, maybe a more of appreciation sometimes when we lose it. I will say, just to counter that and I'll see what you think, I love chocolate cake, even though I've never eaten poop. I appreciate chocolate cake for what it is, even though I've never had the terrible thing. So I don't think you always need evil to appreciate the good.
Fair enough.
But I think
I was wondering where you were going with
But I
that.
think in our world, sometimes we lose track of chocolate cake because we get so used to it.
Okay. I think hey, that's the religious repression of a friar speaking right there. I think he's trying to tell us something. Jesus. Yeah, dry ice is solid CO2, isn't it? Yeah. Hold up. Dry ice is what? Liquefying carbon dioxide. Dry ice is literally liquid CO2. Holy fuck. Jesus. Thank you for pointing that out, Megamania.
And so sometimes the evil does help us, remind us of that. But I don't think we need to all go experience bad things to experience good, but they can help, for sure.
In between you and me, in any decently run universe, this guy would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago.
True.
By the way, I say this guy because I firmly believe, looking at these results, that if there is a God, it has to be a man. No woman could or would ever things up like this.
Didn't say George Carlin wasn't a word. He was a base dude, though.
If there is a God, if there is, I think most reasonable people might agree that he's at least incompetent and maybe, just maybe, doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit.
So either he's incompetent or he doesn't care. This is often a philosophical answer that we get. Because evil can't be good, so either God isn't all good or he's not all powerful. I think it's a false claim.
Yeah, absolutely. False dichotomy. So it's very hard for me to accept the
How is
idea
this a
that
false
someone
dichotomy?
who, a supreme being who created the complexity of the universe, the minutia of DNA and the expansiveness of a star system or horizon of sunset or so many grains of sand on the shore of the sea, so to speak, I really struggle with him saying mindless and with him saying that incompetence, when the evidence is everywhere that he himself, George Carlin, has received all of this and the consciousness to criticize it.
Yeah.
So then, if it's not incompetence, then it's gross fucking negligence in that case. You see, and this is why people bring up things such as war, such as famine, such as death. You may claim it to be a necessary evil, but the fact of the matter is, by your own admission, earlier, when you brought up rich people, 2V Friars in this video, by your own admission, some people don't have to experience these negative things to enjoy life. Some people don't have to experience these. The fact of the matter is, if there was a good, loving God, he wouldn't subject random people to these horrible, evil things just to make them no good life. Which is another thing. These people are being inconsistent. They're saying that whenever people stray from the path of God is when they encounter evil. And then they're also saying that you have to have evil to experience good. Which is it? Is God actively allowing evil to happen to make us feel good later down the line? Or is he just sitting passive, and then whenever humans stray from good, then they enter evil? What the fuck is it?
He's gotten all these things as gift, but he's not acknowledging the origin or the source of the gift.
Yeah, it is a gift that he's throwing away. I think it's also half the story because we as religious are not materialists. We're not naturalists to think that the physical world is all there is. If we believe this was all there is, then yeah, I would not be happy with our God. But because we recognize that this world is passing away and that we are going to a more perfect world, I think that that changes the conversation entirely. That it's not about being incompetent. It's about sometimes saying, I want to let people figure it out. I mean, have you ever been a business
Let people figure it out through genocide, motherfucker. Let's get it. That's what a loving God would do. Jesus fucking.
owner or
Maurice,
a boss or been a
fucking-
parent? You don't jump in right away and correct everything all the time. That's not what's best for people. Sometimes you say, I'm going to let them try. If they fall, I'll help them pick it back up, but I'm going to let them fall. That's the way you teach sometimes.
Failing's a
That's-
great school.
It's a
He's let. If that's the case, then God has let humanity fall really fucking hard sometimes. Hey, only use of nuclear weapons in a war at the end of World War II? Yeah. I'm gonna let humanity fall a little bit. Just fall a little bit, and then they'll learn afterwards. 100,000 people dead, humanity falls a little bit, but they'll get right back up. Jesus. Maurice. Fucking Christ. Rice Krispies. Okay.
good thing for people.
Yeah.
I think of my own sins. I think of the things that I've done wrong in this world. A lot of them have helped lift me up because I've been repentant afterwards. I think that that's what God does, is he shows that even the evil, even the death, can be transformed.
Powerful.
But he's losing that part.
Yeah, he's missing it. Or for effect. I mean, he's certainly playing to the ladies.
Sure.
For effect, he's just trying to be bombastic.
So rather than be just another mindless religious robot, mindlessly and aimlessly and blindly believing that all of this is in the hands of some spooky, incompetent father figure who doesn't give a I decided to look around for something else to worship, something I could really count on. And immediately, I thought of the sun. Happened like that. Overnight, I became a sun worshiper. Several reasons. First of all, I can see the sun. Okay? Yeah. Unlike some...
Wait, why is my chat on my screen not updating properly? Because it's like on stream it's updating. We're not forgetting the Christian God is the only one of various gods in the world, are we? Yeah, true. True. Quantum physics is evil and I love it, true. Give me cake, Friar. Seriously, what the fuck, obviously. Yeah, okay. We're updating that.
Some other gods I could mention, I can actually see the sun. I'm big on that. If I can see something, I don't know, kind of helps the credibility along, you know? So every day I can see the sun as it gives me everything I need. Heat, light, food, flowers in the park, reflections on the lake, an occasional skin cancer. But hey, at least there are no crucifixions, and we're not setting people on fire simply because they don't agree with us. Sun worship is fairly simple. There's no mystery, no miracles, no pageantry, no one asks for money, there are no songs to learn, and we don't have a special building where we all gather once a week to compare clothing.
My gosh, there are so many things in here.
Jump
Special
cut.
building where we all gather
Hard jump
once
cut.
a week to compare clothing.
My gosh, there are so many things in
Hard
here.
jump
Man,
cut.
I don't know about your clothing, Bill.
I'm comparing a little bit. So worshiping the sun because he can see it.
If life was limited to the empirical, only those things you can measure,
Gosh.
where would poetry be?
Yeah.
Where would love?
Wow. I think that they converted me. That is so true. Where would life be if you could measure the empirical? If you could only measure the empirical. Right now, I am measuring how fucking stupid that argument is. It's pretty fucking stupid. I'll shut the fuck up now. Let me stop memeing.
Be? You know, where would the movement of music and rhythm and melody and lyrics?
Wait. I don't know a lot about music theory, but from what I have heard, there's a literal math to rhythm and melody in music. Like, you literally count in music to keep, like, a consistent beat. There is empiricism to music, I'm pretty sure. Anyone better on music than me, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure, yeah. Jesus. Maurice.
Oh, yeah.
You can't prove that. Your gut
Dreams.
feelings, those are insignificant now?
Someone very important to me once said, I have a dream, and that dream is now coming true because he dreamt it. You can't prove that, George. You know, how are you going to go down your road of analysis about a dream? You can't, but it was super real.
Yeah,
It's
yes,
super
yes,
changes and more
yes,
changes
thank
are
you,
needed, but
Pooh.
There it is.
Yeah,
definitely,
music is literally has empirical elements to it. So does love. You can you can't necessarily quantify love, but you can explain the processes behind love too. The fucking chemical shit in your brain. Explain how a good God would send their followers to death, and in a failed crusade for political gain. True. Absolutely. Is that good or evil? Because they did it in the name of God. Is that good or evil? My kind friar friends.
A popular idea we see in our world today is called positivism, logical positivism, that's only those things that can be proven are true. But there's a problem with that statement, which is that statement doesn't actually have proof to it. So it's self-defeating. We ultimately have to decide whether we accept that as true or not.
I mean, not necessarily. Because, I mean, you could literally say, okay, fuck it, I'll do it like this. I'll say this. Also, this is a very funny frame. Looks like he's fucking, like, shoving something in his mouth. We could say this then. In that case, you rock. Thank you, Saint Shenanigans. We could literally say this then. Okay. Let's go back to this claim.
Idea we see in our world today is called positivism, logical positivism, that's only those things that can be proven are true. But there's a problem with that statement, which is that statement doesn't actually have proof to it. So it's self-defeating. We ultimately...
Okay, so basically we're saying that you don't necessarily have to have proof for every claim. So, if that's the case, I'm gonna make a claim without any proof. Okay? Without any proof, I'm gonna make that claim. The Bible has a lost book, and it has this lost book, I believe it. The Bible has a lost book, and in the lost book, it says that it was no more than fan fiction of the Epic of Gilgamesh. And it has a bunch of articles of our own tags, Levant era articles of our own tags. That is all what it's consistent of. And the amount of kudos, the amount of cuneiform kudos it got, that is the last book of the Bible. It's called the Book of Maurice. That's who I've been referencing the entire time, the person who wrote the Bible, Maurice, the Book of Maurice. And it's true because I believe it. You can't say that it's false, because, I mean, clearly, you don't have to have proof for everything that you believe at all. Not at all. Not a single thing. You don't need proof as long as you have faith. And I have faith that the Book of Maurice exists, and I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. It came to me within a dream.
Ultimately have to decide whether we accept that as true or not. And
There's
so
no
I think
scarier phrase in history than God was it
feel for
true.
him that, yes,
Your
it is
history
easier when we can
teacher's
see things,
fucking
right? This is
based.
doubting Thomas. He wanted to see it for himself. This is a natural human response. But I think it cuts ourselves off from so many other forms of truth that we implicitly accept and we don't question in the same way.
I love when Jesus said, well, come here, Thomas, put your hand in the holes. He gave him the empirical.
Yeah.
So even Jesus danced with this struggle that George is having. He dwells an awful lot on the human
Struggle.
negative, and it's not running through everything, but we have a choice to pay attention or not.
The best thing about the sun, it never tells me I'm unworthy. Doesn't tell me I'm a bad person who needs to be saved. Hasn't said an unkind word. Treats me fine. So, I worship
A
the
pillow.
sun.
I found a
I don't pray to the
35-year-old
sun.
tablet that says
Know
it's
why?
so sad, Joe.
I wouldn't presume on a friendship.
True, I've seen that
Not
tablet
polite.
before, true.
I've often thought people treat God rather
I've
rudely,
absolutely
don't
seen
you?
that tablet
Asking
before. It's
trillions and
absolutely
trillions
true.
of prayers every day, asking and pleading and begging for favors. Do this, give me that, I need a new car, I want a better job. And most of this praying takes place on Sunday, his day off. Not nice. And it's no way to treat a friend.
So it's crazy.
Hey, note how they didn't jump cut that. They didn't jump cut that until after they laughed. Look at this.
His day off. Not nice. And it's no way to treat a friend.
I wonder why that jump cut was very weirdly selected at that specific point after they laughed at the joke. And it hasn't been on other jump cuts. I wonder why.
So it's crazy here. The thing he wants to worship, his ultimate idea, just says, you're fine, do whatever you want. He's complaining so much about the ills of humanity and how we hurt each other and all these terrible things, about the reason that God is terrible is because he doesn't intervene. And so he accepts a God that will never intervene by nature.
I find it fascinating that he started his concert with God's going to cast you into fiery hell,
Yeah.
and then chooses a fiery ball as his God. If he gets anywhere near it, he's going to give him instant toasted almond,
Damn. It's a good thing that no one is going to go near the fucking sun then. It's a good thing that we're, 93 million miles away from the fucking sun then. fuck even? Yeah. Christianity, kids.
God is terrible is because he doesn't intervene, and so he accepts a God that will never intervene by nature.
I find it.
Also, these people don't seem to realize that when George Carlin was talking about sun worship, Carlin, I'm pretty sure Carlin wasn't actually a fucking sun worshipper. He was just using that as an example as... Jesus. Maurice. Jesus. Fuck. Okay. Honestly, we have watched through enough. This is a 50-minute segment. So, again, if you are the Friars in the video, if you ever want to talk, message me on twitter.com. Links are in the description. My Discord is also in the description if you want to use that to message me. I doubt that you're going to see this, but if you do, I'd be more than willing to talk about religion with you. With that being said, all links are in the description to both my Discord and my Twitter. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to hit that beautiful, sexy-ass bell notification. And with that being said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.
News to say I keep a check. She was all bad, nevertheless. Calling it quits now, baby, I'm a wreck. Crash at my place, baby, you're a wreck. News to say I keep